Let's pray. Father, we want to hear your words speaking to us today. Would you come and help us to hear what you want us to hear and be able to take that out and live as your friends and your disciples. Amen. Okay, well, I'm carrying on my attempt to find different places I can preach from. I did try and record some sermons outside for the summer holidays, but the wind was a bit strong. It was lovely weather, but the wind was a bit strong. And I was planning to try and go a little higher, maybe get a direct line rather than via intermediate stages. But I'm here on my own, so I'm not going up the tower. So I'm here. And for those of you that know where I am, you know where I am. And those of us who don't, have a guess. So, we're being brave this summer. We're having a summer of being brave. I wonder if you've done anything brave this summer. Have you been on holiday and done something brave? Have you been away for a day and done something brave? Have you tried something new to do something brave? Just for a couple of minutes, I want you to talk to the person next to you about the bravest person you know. A couple of weeks ago, we said, what have you done that was brave? I want you to think about other people now. Think about someone who was brave. Someone you know. Not someone in film or TV. Someone you know personally who's been brave. Go on, talk to the person next to you. I'm sat smiling because there are so many times I do that and you just all get really excited and there's a lot of excited chatter. Right, so what I'm going to ask now is that somebody clicks pause, so that'll be down the right-hand side of Zignworks, on my preach now, and I will attempt not to make any silly faces in the next few seconds so that the pause is okay. And I want you to share, using the handheld microphone, people who you know that have been brave and why, okay? Oh, okay. That was unexpected. Right, yes, brave. Week 1, David was brave because he knew that God would win his battles. Week 2, Esther was brave because she knew that God had put her in a particular time, in a particular place, in a particular situation to do a particular thing. Last week, Elijah was brave because even though he thought he was the last, he still did what God asked him to do, even though he was at the end of his resources, anointed and stressed. My favorite title of a book ever. But Elijah still did what God wanted him to do, even though he was scared, even though he thought he was the last man standing. This week, the story of Ruth. Ruth isn't Jewish. Ruth is a Moabitess. That's a really weird name. Moab is the name that's given to a country that's not part of Israel and Judea, not part of the Holy Land. If you can picture the maps of the Holy Land, you've got the Mediterranean coast and the Mediterranean off to one side, and then you've got the Jordan River running down from the North Sea of Galilee all the way down into the Dead Sea below Jerusalem. Moab is off to the east of the Dead Sea. Those people are related to God's people through Abraham, but they're not Jewish. They're not Hebrews. They're not the tribe that God had called to possess the land. And so the Moabites were often at war, or certainly in conflict with the Jews. Naomi loses her husband, and with her sons, she goes to Moab during a famine. There's famine in the Holy Land, and they go to Moab where there is food. While she's there, her sons marry Moabite women. They shouldn't really have done that because God said not to, but, that's what they did. And then her sons die. Naomi is completely alone, and she calls herself Mara, which means bitter. This is a bitter old lady. Her words for herself. It's probably one of the saddest stories in the Old Testament. A woman has lost everything, and she decides to go back home, because she may as well die at home as dying in a foreign country. So she goes back home, and two of her daughters-in-law go with her. One turns back when Naomi says, no, don't bother coming with me. You go back to your life, go and have a lovely life. But one doesn't, and that's Ruth. Because Ruth knows that family is important. Ruth knows that it's not God's plan for Mara, Naomi, to be bitter. And so she's persistent. And so very bravely leaves her own country, very bravely leaves her own people, very bravely goes to live in a place where everyone will hate her. But she does it because she knows that love requires it. Naomi and Ruth return. Ruth discovers that there's a man, Boaz, who will look after her. Naomi encourages her, tells her the right things to do and to say, and Boaz takes on responsibility for caring for Ruth and for Naomi, according to the laws of God's people. Ruth is cast out of her own community. She's drawn out of it to follow Naomi wherever she goes. Your people will be my people, she says. Your God will be my God. She makes a huge step of faith. She's incredibly brave because she knows that love requires it. And God honors her bravery and finds her refuge and home and safety and a place in Jesus' family tree. Ruth is one of Jesus' ancestors, a Moabite, not a Jew, a Jewess, not a Jewess, a Moabite, a foreigner, a Gentile. She is enfolded into the great story of God. Do you feel like an outsider? Do you feel like you don't fit somewhere? Do you know what? So did Ruth. Do you feel that you could just walk away from a particular situation because it's too hard? But you know in your heart of hearts that love requires you to persist. That's brave. In a couple of weeks' time, Jackie and I, with the boys, will be going down to Newbury, where we used to live, to spend some time with a very dear friend of ours called Berry, whose husband Roger died just a few weeks ago. Roger actually married Jackie and I in St Nick's Church in Newbury in 1995. And he and Berry have been very special. But there was a point where things were going wrong for them. I'm sure Berry wouldn't mind me sharing this with you. It was a story that was well known at St Nick's in Newbury. She decided that was it, that their marriage was over. Rog was away training. Berry was still living and ministering in Newbury. And she came to church one night and said to us and to other friends, that's it, I've made a decision. We can't go on. And lots of people were praying through that service, Jackie particularly. She doesn't remember much about that service. She was just praying so very, very, very hard. And at the end of the service, our friend Berry said, I've got to sort this out. I've got to do this. I can't walk away from this. She made the same brave decision that Ruth made. And she drove however many 100 miles it was from Newbury to Nottingham in an awful lot less time than she should have done. And she and Rog stayed up the whole night talking. And a few months later, it was Jackie and my great privilege to help organise their 25th wedding anniversary. Roger died on their 50th wedding anniversary after 25 years of amazing ministry for Jesus, mainly in France. Berry decided to do something brave because love required it. And so did Ruth. And maybe that's you today. Maybe you have to do something brave because love says you must. Make sure that you're safe. Don't put yourself into risky situations. Don't let yourself be a doormat. But if love requires you to be brave, then be brave. If love requires you to take a step of faith, then take a step of faith. If love requires you to reach out to someone, even a bitter old woman like Mara, then do it. Be brave. Amen.